So we talked about ellipsoidals as a particular kind of fixture.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to a different kind of fixture. Tell us about PARs.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that with ellipsoidals, the conventional versions and the LED versions are pretty much the same type of fixture. That changes a little bit with PARs.
Okay.
So some quick overview history of PARs. Back in the day, I think it was probably 40s, 50s, 60s, as people were starting to put concert lighting together, someone designed a fixture around a PAR bulb, and that's where the name PAR initially comes from. Some people say they came from aircraft style lights. Some people, say it's a headlight style bulb. All that I think is true, but I've got some examples here of different PAR lenses. So you hardly ever see regular PARs with a PAR bulb in them anymore, but fixtures like the Source 4 PAR still use the same lenses. So when I was growing up in the business and we wanted to have different beam spreads out of a PAR, we had to change a whole bulb to be able to do it.
Huh.
When the Source 4 PARs came out, now we have different PAR lenses, which this one, the clear one you're looking at, this is called a very narrow lens. And again, this, when we had PAR bulbs, that's exactly what the front of the bulb itself looked like. This would be the most narrow light come out of it. It would be, a round field of light because there's no lensing in it like this one to change the shape of the light. So you have a very narrow, which is clear.
Yeah.
And if you can look at this one's a little bit frosted.
Okay.
This would just be a narrow bulb. It would still be a round output of light, but it'd start to have a little bit of frosting.
A little softer around the edges.
Softer.
Okay.
This is where it really changes. This would be considered a medium flood. You can see the little chiclets in the light. What that does is it starts to turn the light into an oval shape. And that's what people normally think of when they think of light output from a PAR.
Yeah.
PARs are the workhorse of lighting. They're generally usually pretty cheap. They put out just, there's not a lot of controllability to the light output the way there is with an ellipsoidal. But you can get a lot for a low budget. And this is all conventional PARs. Now we have more modern LED PARs. Where this changes is you don't see this lensing nearly as much. There are some fixtures. In fact, there's LED retro kits for the Source 4 PARs like this, where the lensing would still apply. But what people are a lot more used to is just a LED PAR that has LED sources in it and then its own design lens that doesn't change.
Okay.
Sometimes there is a zoom feature to it in the fixture itself where you can change how big and small. But what most of us that have been in the business for a while knew as PARs of an oval type light, that just doesn't exist nearly as much as it used to with the more modern LED PARs. Still usually lower cost than some other fixtures, still just a good general workhorse light.
Okay, so general workhorse, does that mean front light, back light, side light, anything?
Up light, down light, a light for when it's cold outside and you need to warm your hands over it. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, good all around, just, it's probably the best at nothing, but okay at just about everything. Yeah.
So what about in terms of functionality? Why would you choose LED over conventional? Is that the same reasons as the ellipsoidals in terms of cost and heat and power and all that?
Yes.
And is there functionality in terms of color that's different as well?
All the things. You're hitting it all the nails on the head there. With the traditional conventional PARs, we had to change out gel to change the color in the front. And again, unless you're using a scroller of some sort, once you set that, that's what it's going to be for the entire time. Just about all modern LED PARs have the ability to change colors, and it ranges from everything with RGB chips in there, which would be red, green, and blue chips, to RGBW, red, green, blue, white, all the way up to RGB AWUV, I think. Red, green, blue, amber, white, UV.
Plus.
So that's where, for those of us that do this a lot, the new technology has been amazing because we have a million choices to choose from. For your people that may be just doing this on the weekend of the church, it's actually gotten a lot more confusing because there are a million choices to choose from.